Welcome to another episode of Fantasy News. I am your host, Daniel Greene, and today we have a good heaping amount of superhero news, some Disney news sprinkled on top, but icinged over with a nice finisher of solid fantasy news coming down the road. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into that cake. Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse 2 has been confirmed by the Twitter account to be released in 2022. It's a good bit off, but I know all the fans, including myself, are ecstatic to hear this. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse to me was just one of those superhero movies that transcended the superhero genre and is just a solid movie you can recommend to anybody. Any movie that has like a tug at your heartstrings, father-son dynamic going on is just gonna get me. I'm just gonna feel it. You know what I mean? Also, comingsoon.net dropped an article with an interview with the writers for the upcoming Falcon and Winter Soldier adaptation. Not adaptation. God, there's just so many of those. I just say that word. TV show coming to Disney Plus as filming has begun. I'm kind of excited for this one, but it is a neat interview. If you're interested in that, check it out. Links down below as always, of course, for everything I talk about here in the video. And while you're down there, if you could hit like, I'd immensely appreciate it. It helps the channel here and my growth, yada, yada, yada. Help feed me. And in the first bit of news, I actually want to dive in a bit deep on here today. The Joker has crossed $900 million at the box office, absolutely demolishing the record for highest grossing R-rated movie of all time, and could potentially pass the $1 billion mark at the box office, something that no R-rated movie has even really come close to before. Now, I think many of us could predict if any movie was going to break the $1 billion mark at the box office for an R-rated movie, it was going to be a superhero one. But I don't know if a lot of us would have called it being a villain-focused superhero genre movie, or one that really does pull away from the superhero genre so much. It's kind of interesting to see something that's definitely in that genre, but it's anti that genre in a lot of ways. Really, I'm just excited for this. I think it's neat and will spawn more creativity for the superhero genre as well, because it's something the genre needs to constantly be reminded of, that you can go outside the box. We don't need another formulaic origin story. No, give us something that's different. Even if it is an origin story, make it the Joker's and make it this character piece. That's wonderful. I personally really hope they don't try to spawn this movie's success into some kind of like new DCEU. I don't want that. Let this just be a great entry for superhero fans to point at and go back to as a movie that just works on its own merits while also happening to be within the genre we love. But I know there are many people who disagree with me on that, and if you do, that's fine. Let me know in the comments down below why. If you would like to see a Joker-originated DC expanded universe begin from here. Do you want it to focus only on the villains, or do you want to see the heroes slowly introduced in the background? Let me know. That's a good conversation to have, and I'd like to see what y'all have to say about that. And in the most controversial news of the day, and one I'm not going to speak on much, Johnny Depp is confirmed to be returning for Fantastic Beasts 3 after the recent drama and controversy around him. Really, I just don't want to talk about this one too much because this is fantasy news. I want to keep it happy, but yes, Johnny Depp will continue to be Grindelwald for the Fantastic Beasts franchise. But after the Crimes of Grindelwald flop, and that's what it undoubtedly was, they're actually hiring back on Harry Potter, yes, the original movies writers, to try and bring the franchise back on tracks for the planned 5 total movies. Now, you heard that right. They're actually planned to be 5 total Fantastic Beast movies. I did not know that. Maybe I was just out of the loop here. I thought it was just going to be a trilogy and then we're done. Apparently not. It's planned 5. And for the Harry Potter fans out there, are you excited to see one of the original writers for the screenplays for the actual movies coming back? Or do you think, no, Fantastic Beasts is too far gone and there's not much you could do to rein it back in? Bob Iger has come out and stated that he wants to do a Star Wars slowdown at Disney. The headline really gets the gist of this article fully in context. He's saying less is more. And that, I believe, is 100% true. I just hope he can actually commit to actually following through with this idea, because I 100% believe it's the case. Less is more with Star Wars. It's not Marvel pumping out Star Wars movies every year, or multiple Star Wars movies every year. It's just not going to be possible for the franchise to maintain what it is in pop culture. It'll eventually just become another just, okay, this could die out and people aren't going to be as excited anymore. Personally, I think a Star Wars movie every 3 years, where it originally kind of started in that zone, is the way to go. I just don't know if I fully believe Disney has the patience to let a franchise they spent so much money on actually do that, especially when a couple of the movies haven't been as nearly profitable as they thought. I really do believe a lot of the people behind closed doors who make these decisions just can't get it in their head that if you want to make the most money, you want the most longevity for a franchise that is widely loved, sometimes less is more. Hearing Bob Iger say it gives me hope, but he doesn't get to make all the decisions, at least I don't think so. But in unrelated Star Wars news, a trailer dropped again for The Mandalorian, which has quite a bit of footage that's for the first time seen in this trailer. Link to that, of course, down below. And in the last bit of directly Disney news we're going to be talking about here today, Frozen 2 dropped a Get Tickets Now trailer, which means tickets are available, but now we're getting new trailer drops to just let you know you can get tickets. Okay, just trailers now for pretty much every upcoming release. It's just so many trailers. Teaser trailers, teasers for teasers trailers, that's a thing now. And in Jesus, this story is done and I'm just tired of talking about it now news. Martin Scorsese has released a piece in the New York Times defending his remarks towards Marvel. My take on this is everyone's in the camp they're going to be in. No one's going to change their mind on this. If you want to hear his final thoughts, link down below, go check it out. Moving on, this is not news anymore. This is just a guy's opinion and it's making a bunch of people mad. That's this entire freaking story, and I wish I had realized that before I even covered it in the first place, because it's a non-story. And in my favorite news of the day The Witcher author Andrzej Sapkowski came out with an interview that has his personality coming through in spades. This guy has one heck of a personality on it, but he just seems to really speak his mind, which I can respect absolutely. But this interview is just full of gems. He's even asked who he thinks the best current fantasy author writing is, and he responds without a doubt, Joe Abercrombie essentially, which I could agree with that in some aspects. Joe Abercrombie's amazing. But my personal favorite takeaway from this article comes when he said, I just write words, put the letters in the right order, but when I write, I don't see anything. I don't imagine anything. I don't know the difference between a craftsman and an artist. But one thing is certain. I am an artist. I'm a artist. I've been creating just like Leonardo painted the Mona Lisa. Oh right, that is wow. I like you now in a weird way. Don't know why, but you're fun. And in the last bit of quickie trailer news for the day, the Dragon Prince Season 3 trailer dropped. That'll be coming to Netflix soon. And speaking of dragons, we may be getting some Dragon Age 4 news. The 10-year anniversary did recently happening, and in a post on the Twitter account, it seems we may be getting something on December 4th. Again, this is all speculation, but video game companies, media companies in general, like doing stuff around the time of their anniversaries because, they know they already got your attention. So this makes sense. We may be getting some information about the 4th entry in a series that has won a lot of awards and been a massive critical success, except for a couple entries. We don't talk about that much. But yes, I'm excited for this. Are you excited for this? It's Dragon Age 4. Who can't be excited for another Dragon Age entry? And in the final bit of news we're going to cover here today is just kind of an interesting entry regarding the recent His Dark Materials TV show. One of the few criticisms it received, and I mean few, it was widely praised and loved in critical reception, is that there wasn't a whole lot of demons in the background. Where were they? Why aren't they everywhere? Every person should have a demon right next to them. Well, Philip Pullman responded to this, saying mainly it was budgetary, because they do want to save money and they have to cut corners to make sure the show looks good. But in addition to that, he also claims, and I quote, "We shouldn't notice them unless they've got something important to do. Otherwise the screen would be cluttered with the little brutes." And I actually do somewhat agree with that. If you constantly had these little creatures everywhere, the screen would be quite distracting. And when it comes to a TV show's presentation, where the viewer's perspective is drawn is incredibly important. And I do agree with the sentiment that if there were these little demons running around, you might be just distracted all the time. So it's not even an explanation of in story. No, this is a directly, to make the show better, we have to reduce the number. And I don't think it's a fully BS answer just to cover up the fact that it's a budget constraint, even though he did address, yes, it is also falling in line with budget constraints. So I think that works. Anyway, this has been your latest episode of Fantasy News. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Check out the Fantasy News merch linked down below, and let me know what was your favorite news story of the day in the comments. Have a good one, y'all. Peace! And of course, I'd like to record a special shout out to my latest high-tier Patreon, Brad Yoni. One of those is right, Brad. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I hope you're having a great one.